What's up, Fragrant World? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland, and on this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we talk about all things fragrance related. Any interest in that kind of content? Well, you're in the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the Fresh Squad today. Enhance, increase, improve, evolve. Your freshness, you'll feel it, and others will smell it. Now today we are continuing on with our fall themed lists. Why? Because I freaking love the fall. It's my favorite time of the year. I could talk about it all year long. This is an interesting topic that I came up with for an Instagram post. You should follow me on Instagram if you're not following me already. The idea that I had is that the fall season, the spring is kind of the same way, but I guess the transition seasons in general are amazing because they give us a chance to wear the most wide variety of fragrances that we can wear all year. You can rock a number of personalities, and that's what we're talking about today. Fragrance personalities. Yes, these are different types of fragrances, but I do like to think of personalities because when you put them on, they meld with you, they affect your mood, they affect how you present yourself to the world, they affect your personality. They themselves are personalities as well, and when you get it right in the right situation or the right occasion or whatever it may be, it really clicks and you can feel really good and you can affect people around you positively. We have 8 categories. These are 8 categories that I think everyone needs to consider having in their collection. I'm going to define each one, and I have a couple of different recommendations within each category, but really I'm just trying to steer you in the direction of what these categories can mean and what you can look for in order to fulfill them in your own collection. But I'm going to have links to all these fragrances down below if any of them interest you. Let's dive right in. All right, our first category, this is what I call rustic and green. So these fragrances are reminiscent of the outdoors, but they are pretty specific. We're talking about, things reminiscent of the forest or the woods. So you have wood, you have maybe grassy or herbal notes, you have kind of dark earthy notes, things like that. I have a designer and a niche choice for, in fact, all of these categories, but our designer choice is going to be Bottega Veneta Pour Homme Extreme. And this fragrance, man, unfortunately it's hard to find, at least for a good price. I think it is discontinued, but this takes a earthy, kind of damp approach to an outdoorsy fragrance. I think there's patchouli in here, there might be some pine or something green and almost coniferous, but you do have a nice supple, dark, kind of damp leather note that is very elegant and luxurious here. So yeah, it does kind of smell like the outdoors, but it smells very elegant. This is something that you could wear just for yourself. I might wear this kind of fragrance when I'm feeling introspective, when I'm feeling like I'm not going to be around a ton of people. But if you do want to wear it in public, you dress it up, and that is when it does best. You dress this thing up, you smell, again, sophisticated, but in a very different and unique way. So Bottega Veneta Extreme is a great way to do that. And as well as from Argos, we have Brivido della Caccia. Ooh, this is a little bit more intense. I'd say the Bottega Veneta is pretty subdued, kind of a quiet scent, but something that is strong in its own right. This stuff is not shy. This is very green. You get a lot of mate, green mate in here. It's very herbal. It's kind of dark and smoky. I think there's birch wood in here. You do have leather. Leather is pretty prominent in here as well. But the leather is not the most prominent note. It's definitely more green and sharp. Maybe some juniper berry in here, as well as tonka bean. Now that tonka bean really adds a nice kind of welcoming quality. It's a sweet creaminess, especially in the air as it dries down, to go with that green, sharp woodiness, and it just works. So these are 2 great scents to smell, again, rustic and green in the fall time. Okay, our next category, dapper and clean. And these are going to be more on the fresh side of things, because in the fall we have a lot of different types of weather going on, and one of those types is sometimes it's still warm, sometimes it's a little bit warm during the day. And during those times you want to be, again, a little bit more on the fresher side of things, a little bit more on the clean side of things. But rather than giving you like a Dior Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel, which you can wear those all year round, I want to give you something that's a little bit more sophisticated. So our designer pick for dapper and clean is going to Cartier, the original Pasha de Cartier from 1992. This is essentially an aromatic fougere. Wow, and it is a stunning one, especially for the price that you pay. The quality of this stuff, it is so smooth. Lavender, spices and herbs and woods. There's a sweet creaminess, very put together, a little bit mature, so you gotta have a more mature personality to rock this one, but a great option and actually performs really well for an eau de toilette. Our niche pick is going to Sartorial from Penhaligons. Beautiful fragrance from this British house. Also kind of a barbershop style aromatic fougere based on some similar elements, but goes in a very different and unique direction as compared to the Cartier. This uses, I think, beeswax or honey. There's a sweet kind of honeyed vibe to it. You have these metallic notes that almost smell like an iron pressed shirt or something like that, but it still has that very fresh aromatic lavender, you know, just welcoming quality that is very refined and clean smelling. But this is a little bit more on the sweeter side of things, but I'd still rock both of these mostly during the daytime, but they can kind of be signature scents because of this cleanliness that they bring when, and there's never a bad time to be clean. So these are our picks for dapper and clean for the fall. Now, our next category, boozy and seductive. Boozy scents shine in the cooler weather, and the fall is a great time to rock them. And we got a couple picks here. The first one up is from Dior. This is Dior Fahrenheit Le Parfum. One that I do believe is not the easiest to get these days, unfortunately. It's such a unique fragrance. Oh my gosh, you have to wear this well. You have to wear this, I believe, at night, dressed up in darker colors, because otherwise it can be a little strange to some. This is the original Dior Fahrenheit DNA. You get that kind of fresh, almost herbaceous violet leaf note that is in here, but next to some vanilla and some rum. You got some spices in there perhaps, but there's a sweet kind of rich booziness that when mixed with the violet leaf just gives a very different character on a boozy fragrance. Again, I think a great choice to be a little bit more standout, especially at night. Our niche pick is going to Initial Parfums Side Effect. And this is a fairly simple fragrance, but it's put together so well and so seductively. This is whiskey, this is vanilla, I think it's woods. It doesn't change that much on my skin, but it's fine. This stuff is incredible. This stuff is mouth-watering. This stuff is head-turning. I'm loving this stuff, and I think this is a great boozy and seductive personality to have for the fall time. And both of these, in fact, are great for boozy and seductive occasions. Moving into chic and bold. These are fragrances that will wear you if you do not wear them properly. They're not for everyone. They're a little bit polarizing. They have this sharp elegance to them. They have this very put together, this very interesting personality where whoever's wearing them, you're like, man, they are really interesting. I think I'm too afraid to talk to them, but I'm really intrigued with whatever the heck they're doing with their life. And our designer choice for that category is Tom Ford Black Orchid. A lot of guys might consider this a little too feminine, and that's fine. It is a little bit in that realm. Oh my goodness. I do think that it leans pretty unisex, maybe leaning feminine, but there's a darkness here that if you wear it right, again, if you dress like the bottle, dark colors, at night, everything fits well, suave, but confident. This is bold, but this is chic. It's gonna make people remember you. They may or may not give you a compliment because, again, it's quite a bold personality, but you are gonna leave an impression. And our niche pick is going to Charade from the house of Sarah Baker. This is definitely not for everyone. This kind of has a resemblance to an older style, maybe women's perfume. You have lots of like tuberose, so a lot of white floral. There's a sweet honeyed vibe in here, and I think there's quite a bit of woody vetiver as it dries down. Very powerful scent. Again, very bold scent, but very put together if you wear it right. This is a very confident personality here. Both of these fragrances will be great for being bold and chic during the fall time. Okay, our next one up, this is woody and classy. These fragrances are characterized mostly by a woody facet, and they are undeniably classy. You put them on, you dress them up, and you just give off again a very classy vibe. In the room, our designer pick is going to Dior Homme, the 2020 version. Yeah, some of you guys might be surprised but there's something undeniably classy about this fragrance. I wouldn't call it an overly formal scent. By no means, no. I would not wear this in a tuxedo. It's maybe a shirt like this or even a darker color, something where I'm gonna be out, I want to present a more refined vibe, but without dressing all the way up to a suit. This is a great way to do it. This is also a great signature scent, but I think its woodiness makes it very, very classy. So this is a great way to be maybe more casual, classy in a way, which is again something that I'm wearing now. Great choice for that. Our niche pick is going to Creed. This is Royal Oud. And this one needs no introduction from me. Not really an oud scent, lots of dry cedar wood, peppery, lots of pink pepper in here as well. There's a green, almost dustiness, and you have a slight sweetness in here, but it's mostly very dry and woody. There's something a little bit seductive about it, but more than anything, I think it's very classy. Very classy. You dress this up, you just smell maybe a little bit more mature. Unfortunately, this current batch that I have does not perform very well, so I don't really get more than 5 hours out of this. I would try it for yourself, maybe get a decant, see how it performs on your skin. I know the older batches did better, but it still smells incredible. So both of these are fantastic choices for a woody and classy personality. All right, our next category, sweet and delectable. Now, when is it a good time to be sweet and delectable? For me, mostly in the evenings, on cooler nights for sure. Maybe you're with a significant other and you want to smell romantic to them. Maybe not the sexiest fragrances, but they are on the sensual side of things, and they are, again, simply delicious smelling. And our first choice for the designer pick has got to be 1 Million Lucky. This is a great scent for the fall. This is simply delicious. Oh man, hazelnut, honey, plum. There's a freshness to it. It's kind of transparent, but it is quite sweet. Kind of a sticky honey that is luckily not too rich and dense, maybe on account of the freshness. You do have a bit of a dark, juicy plum in there, and there's this beautiful nuttiness to the scent that smells pretty delicious, kind of mouth-watering. Very playful, but in a unique way. I don't think anything smells quite like this. This is going to get you compliments. I'm warning you now. And on the niche side of things, to be honest, this is a fragrance I'm still getting to know, but this is a gorgeous fragrance. I will warn you, it leans a little bit more on the feminine side of things, so you got to be very confident if you tend to be a little bit queasy with feminine leaning fragrances. This is called Spiritual. This is from the house of Michoal. I'm going to respray this because this opening is stunning. This is a very, very sweet and floral fragrance to start. This opens with a bright freshness. You have pink pepper and bergamot for sure, but you immediately get some jasmine. Thankfully, the jasmine is not too powdery. It's not too indolic. It doesn't have that kind of earthy, dirty leaning scent to it, but it's definitely a soft floral nuance in here. But mostly you get a lot of amber, so there's a sweet warmth to it. And ambergris is also in the base. That ambergris comes to play more as it dries down. Gives it this kind of almost salty muskiness that transforms the scent quite a bit. It opens very sweet. And as it dries down, the vanilla is still there. You get benzoin, which is a sweet resin. But the ambergris starts to take hold. It becomes, again, more musky, a little less sweet. Very, very delectable, I gotta say. So I'm gonna have a link, again, down below for everything. Check this one out. I think you can sample it. Beautiful bottle, as you'll see, and it smells incredible. These are great choices to smell sweet and delectable this autumn. Our next category, cozy and unique. Sometimes you want to have a night in where you're with somebody, or maybe you're by yourself, but it's good to be with somebody when you can just be huddled up on the couch, maybe in front of a fire, watching a movie, whatever it may be. But you want to smell cozy, so something that's not going to be too bold or too different or too in your face, but there is a uniqueness here for sure. They're not going to smell like every other fragrance at the fragrance counter here. And our designer pick is going to be Jet Black Reserve from Michoal Malul, London. This fragrance is, I think, one of their most unique offerings. It's a very, very soft scent, so keep that in mind. This is a cozy scent. If you want to wear this on a night out, you might be disappointed because this does not perform very well. It stays close to the skin and it doesn't last all that long, but it's not a slouch. It'll be there for me at least maybe 7 hours, but it doesn't push off. This is a very warm, and light woody scent. There's a warm amber, slightly sweet but not overly sweet. A nice soft woodiness that's not too dry, almost a little bit creamy in a way. You do have a little bit of freshness from some lavender, and there's a touch of spice. I think the sweetness might come from apple, just a touch of apple, but you do have a little bit of spice in there, give it some kick. It smells soft, it smells confident and cozy more than anything, and quite different. Even though it's not super off the wall, nothing smells quite like this that I've tried. And our niche pick for cozy and unique, this fragrance could be fairly elegant. You could dress this up and it would do very well, but I think if you spray less, you wear it in a cozy environment, I think it does just fine. This is called Chergui, and this is from Serge Lutens. I love the color of this juice. It's so dark and rich, and it's fairly representative of the scent as well. This is a stunning fragrance. This is fall in a bottle for me. This is rich and dark, kind of earthy in a way. You have quite an interesting blend of things going on here. You have some tobacco, so you got this earthy tobacco. You have a little bit of iris, which adds a touch of powderiness. You have some honey, which does add some sweetness to it. And you have this interesting hay accord, which adds this kind of rustic, almost grassy, but not in a green way, kind of a brown grass. That's kind of what hay looks like, I guess. So that's not very descriptive, but you can smell it. And I think without the hay accord, this would be very bland, but it works so well. It is quite cozy. It does have a bit of a sweetness, but it's not overly sweet. It's mostly powdery and earthy and a little bit sweet. So these are some great cozy and unique options to consider. Now our final category, leathery and provocative. I think leather is a great note for the fall. You gotta have a good leather fragrance in your collection. There's a number of ways you can go with leather. You can be very upfront, very brash. You can have it be kind of a centerpiece, but it kind of just enhances everything around it. For our designer pick, I didn't want to have a lot of crossover between some of the other lists that I've done, but I had to choose this one because in terms of my designer fragrances that I own that have a distinct leather note, this is the most provocative, so I had to choose it. So forgive me, but Gucci Guilty Absolute, we're talking about it again. This is a stunning, jaw-dropping fragrance. This is not for everyone. Again, very provocative. So you walk by someone wearing this stuff, they might not like it. We got to be real. They may not like it, but you're going to provoke something out of them. Hence the name provocative. Very leathery, medicinal in a way. You have woody vetiver, you have cypress. It's kind of green and earthy, very woody, patchouli, and again, very, very leathery and dry. Kind of leaning dirty in a way. If you dress this up, that's when it's going to work. If you dress it up at night, if you're outside, especially giving it room to breathe, they better look out. Very provocative stuff. And our niche pick for leathery and provocative has got to go to African Leather from Memo. Not the most leather forward scent, despite the name. Leather's definitely in there, but it is mostly accented. It acts as a foundation to some spices like cardamom, like saffron. There's even a little bit of oud in here. You got some earthy patchouli. It ultimately smells quite spicy, a little bit balsamic in a way. There's like a almost resinous stickiness to it, but there is a freshness to it. There is kind of this open transparency to it, but this is a very strong fragrance. Not really that sweet, mostly spicy, kind of leathery, kind of balsamic, very provocative scent. So these are phenomenal, provocative, and obviously leathery fragrances to consider for the fall season. That's going to do it for me. Those are 8 categories, 8 personalities I think you should consider looking into for the fall time. I'm sure there are many others that I could not cover because I didn't want to make this a 45-minute video. So I'd love to know what other personalities you would want to cover in your collection for the fall season. So let me know down in the comments below. If you like the video, please like the video. It really goes a long way, helps me out so much. And if you want to consider enhancing and increasing your freshness, which is a vibe, it is a way of life, it is how you carry yourself through the world, it is how you put your best foot forward in every situation. It's not just about smelling fresh. If you want all that, join the Fresh Squad. Subscribe today and my videos will help you continue to do that. But nonetheless, thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.